Vaccine rates in COVID hotspots are going up, and health officials are calling that a good thing as the Delta variant continues to surge. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House with the latest.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
New school choice legislation in Missouri could mean more kids in private schools. This is KOAM News at 5. Last month, the state created the Missouri Empowerment Scholarships Accounts Program. The program gives tax credits to people who donate money to scholarship funds. The scholarships will then be given to students with disabilities and those from low-income households so they can attend a private school or pay for a homeschooling program.
The traditional public school is probably best for most kids, but it doesn't mean it's the best option for all kids. And so we need to provide parents other options. And also, we really need to redefine what we think of public education.
The program will be available only to students who live in towns with populations above 30,000. So in our area, that means only Joplin. We're going to have more details tonight at 6. The Economic Security Corporation's Homeless Coalition today hosted their Summer Project Homeless Connect event in Joplin. Organizers say the event serves as a one-stop shop for people experiencing homelessness to access resources for health care, food, employment, and housing, among other things. One homeless woman we spoke to said the event's a big help.
Well, my husband and I don't have a phone. Now we have a phone. They have helped us get haircuts that we needed. They have given us job opportunities. They've given us ideas of resources that we needed desperately for our family.
According to the Economic Security Corporation, there were 313 homeless people in 2020 in Joplin. That number now has dropped to 210 this year. Doug Heddy joined us. Doug, we need a break from the heat.
We do. Another hot one for us today. Temperatures right back up into the mid to upper 90s for afternoon highs. We've stayed dry throughout the day, but we are watching some thunderstorms really to our north. These are going to dive into central Missouri, but a few of these will clip us a little bit later on this evening, and then another batch will try to get going a little bit later on tonight, especially late evening into the overnight hours. You can see a few trying to get in here late evening, so a few spotty little showers, a few spotty little thunderstorms, but our bigger batch will start to work in late tonight into the morning hours for us tomorrow. Look at our temps. Most of us mid to upper 90s. We still have those very high heat indices. It feels like 105 upwards to 110 across the region. We are going to see some changes. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
Catch you then. The U.S. became more diverse and more urban over the past decade, and the white population dropped for the first time on record. That's according to the Census Bureau, which today released a trove of demographic data that'll be used to redraw the nation's political maps. The new figures offered the most detailed portrait yet of how the country has changed since 2010. They show continued migration to the south and west at the expense of counties in the Midwest and Northeast. Immunocompromised Americans will soon be able to get a COVID booster shot. Vaccine rates are also going up in states where new cases of the coronavirus are soaring. Reporter Skyler Henry has details from the White House.
The FDA is planning to approve COVID-19 booster shots for those with compromised immune systems.
An additional dose could help increase protection for these individuals, which is especially important as the Delta variant spreads.
Across the nation, the variant is fueling an uptick in cases. The 7-day average of new daily cases now stands at 113,000, a nearly 24% increase. Patients in Texas and Florida account for 40% of new hospitalizations.
In the past week, Florida has had more COVID cases than all 30 states with the lowest case rates combined.
But White House COVID-19 response coordinator Jeff Zients says vaccination rates are improving in states where the virus is rapidly spreading.
In the past month, we've nearly tripled the average number of shots each day in Arkansas and quadrupled in Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi.
As the Delta variant spreads around the world, the Biden administration is preparing to start shipping vaccine doses to countries that need them within the next few days. 200 million doses will be shipped by the end of the year and 300 million more next year. As spiking cases prompt more mask mandates, President Biden delivered a message to those defying state officials who oppose them.
School superintendents, educators, local leaders who are standing up to the governor's politicizing mask protection for our kids. Thank you.
Proving your vaccination status is also becoming more common. San Francisco is preparing to announce a vaccine mandate for many indoor activities. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The largest teachers union in the country has endorsed vaccinations for educators or regular COVID-19 testing for the unvaccinated. President Biden today announced additional steps he wants Congress to take to lower prescription drug costs. Americans currently pay more than twice as much for prescription drugs compared to any other developed country in the world. The president is now calling on Congress to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. The administration would also like a cap on the amount that Medicare beneficiaries have to pay out of pocket for drugs each year. Still ahead, keeping your skin safe in the sun.
The FDA weighs new rules about the chemicals in sunscreen, but what should you use right now? I'm Bradley Blackburn with the new advice to stay sun safe.
And next in Health Watch, a study shows the potentially dangerous side effects of COVID-19 on the hearts of athletes. Topping today's Health Watch, researchers at the Washington University School of Medicine are using MRI scans to identify one of 6 common types of brain tumors. They believe this development could potentially automate the detection and classification of brain tumors, replacing invasive surgical procedures. A study from the UK finds that employment experiences in the early stages of adulthood could connect to cardiovascular disease later in life. Researchers found that job and education stress in your late teens and early 20s can predict whether you'll have heart problems in your 40s. Workers who spent more time in school before entering a profession or a managerial role showed better signs of heart health than those with other career paths. The authors added that companies need to pay more attention to depression and job demands among younger employees. As schools are getting back to full in-person learning for the 2021-2022 school year, school sports are also making a comeback. But before your team gets back to the swing of things, will you get your child this COVID-19 vaccine? A survey from the Kaiser Family Foundation says nearly 1 in 4 parents will definitely not. A study says that could spell trouble, especially for student athletes. There are more than 8 million high school student athletes in the U.S. Of those students,
1 in 300 will carry a form of cardiovascular disease that predisposes them to have a risk of sudden cardiac arrest.
And having COVID could put them at greater risk, including those who never had heart problems before.
COVID can affect the heart, and you don't have to be that symptomatic to have issues within your heart muscles.
A study from The Ohio State University found 15% of athletes who had mild symptoms of COVID or were asymptomatic showed signs of heart inflammation as they recovered. Overexerting the heart while it's inflamed can lead to major complications, sudden cardiac arrest, and even death. Watch out for chest pain, shortness of breath, and dizziness after the quarantine period.
Those are always red flags that then warrant follow up with their pediatrician and or pediatric cardiologist.
Also, make a graduated return to play. Don't push yourself to practice or play right after COVID recovery. Check with your doctor to see if the heart inflammation is cleared before returning to play. Another recommendation is to perform a heart EKG on athletes before they even take part in team sports. This screening is typically not included in a sport physical, but doing one may find heart abnormalities that can lead to sudden cardiac arrest or even death. Recent research shows a rare side effect of the COVID-19 vaccine is heart inflammation, but CDC officials say the benefits of getting the COVID vaccine still outweigh the risks. Seating children near each other in school can promote friendships, even if they have little in common. A European study found proximity in the classroom led to increased friendships among students, including kids who differed in educational achievement, gender, or ethnicity. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, Amazon announces a change in its policy concerning defective third-party products.
Plus, thunderstorm chances in the forecast for us tonight and tomorrow. We're going to look at that next. Well, it turned out to be another very hot, humid, sticky, nasty day for us today. Temperatures right back up into the mid to upper 90s, pushing 100 in our western counties where the humidity is a little bit lower. On the Missouri side, the humidity is a little bit higher, so our temperatures stay just a notch or two lower. But you can see everybody mid to upper 90s, so very hot, very humid. That's why we've had heat advisories in effect throughout the day. And look at our heat index. Our indices anywhere from 104 in Nevada, 101 in Anderson, feels like a 103 in Commerce, feels like 109 in Neodesha, so just extremely hot across the region. But it looks good. 7th and range line currently outside 97, southwesterly winds, a little breezy, 10 to 15, feels like 105 right now. As we go through the evening hours, we'll drop back through the 90s, 80s, eventually mid 70s later on tonight, but we are going to get some thunderstorm chances increasing as we go through the late evening into the overnight hours tonight. As of right now, we look fine. All the storms mainly out across central parts of Missouri, and you can see this batch. This is mainly going to drop into central Missouri and stay east of us, but you can also see them kind of developing back near Kansas City, and a few of those guys may skirt into the area, and then we'll start to see redevelopment out across central Kansas. And what that will do is give us another batch that we'll try to work in later on tonight. But you can see these kind of all lining up right along Interstate 70 over the past couple hours. This is due to a front. You can see north winds, south winds, and then you get your thunderstorms. This front's going to sink into the area as we go into tomorrow afternoon, and that's what's going to give us our chances for showers and thunderstorms across the region. As we go through the overnight hours tonight, scattered thunderstorms starting to pick up late evening into the overnight hours. These are going to be very hit and miss across the region. Here's 5 a.m. for us tomorrow, but I do think a good chunk of us will at least get some rain. We'll have scattered thunderstorms into the morning hours, and then everybody should mainly start to dry out. But as we go into the afternoon hours, we'll start to see showers and thunderstorms increasing again, mainly in our southern counties this time around. So here's your forecast. We'll start at 71, 87 by noon, high temp at 91. Better chances for thunderstorms in the morning hours. By the afternoon, we'll just have these kind of hit and miss little storms. For us tomorrow night, most of us dry except our southern counties. You guys will get some scattered showers and thunderstorms. And then as we go into Saturday, we'll get a few more hit and miss storms. These are going to be very scattered, but we are going to have a few hit and miss storms out there Saturday night, and even chances sticking around even into Sunday. Heat indices still up there tomorrow, not as bad as today. Upper 90s to near 100 degrees, and then they look a lot better by Saturday. Our humidity is going to be lower, so our heat index is going to be very similar to what our actual temperature will be by Saturday afternoon. Scattered thunderstorms for us tonight, especially after midnight into tomorrow morning. Still hot tomorrow, high temp at 92, but better. 90 on Saturday, hit and miss storms again. Sunday 88, and then 89 by Monday. We kind of hold near 90 degrees.
Bring on the rain chances, bring on the cooler temperatures.
Yeah, we could use a little bit.
You bet we could use a lot. Thanks, Doug. Extreme temperatures are scorching countries around the Mediterranean. The record-breaking heat is fueling wildfires, killing dozens of people. Some of the hardest hit areas include Algeria, Greece, and Sicily, where temperatures hit 120 degrees. Coming up, what to look for when buying sunscreen. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Justin Conley served in the U.S. Army from 2003 to 2008. The Miami, Oklahoma native was stationed in Iraq, and we salute Corporal Justin Conley, a four-state hero. Topping Consumer Watch today, Amazon says it'll compensate customers for defective products from third-party sellers. The e-commerce giant says starting September 1st, it'll pay up to $1,000 for defective product claims that may have caused injury or damages. Previously, Amazon had a largely hands-off approach with third-party products, telling customers to take it up with the seller. Global supply chain problems are hitting close to home. According to a new Gallup poll, 60% of Americans say they haven't been able to get a product they wanted due to a shortage triggered by the pandemic. And more than half have experienced significant delays in receiving something they ordered. In fact, 70% of Americans have had at least one of these issues. Sunscreen is so important this time of year, but a report finds many of the products on our store shelves don't offer adequate protection or include potentially harmful ingredients. Reporter Bradley Blackburn examines what we should look for to protect our families.
Vanessa Proda regularly puts sunscreen on her kids, whether the family is getting ready for the beach or visiting the park on a cloudy day. Why is it important? Why does she do that?
Because or then sun will burn you.
They're avoiding sunburns and avoiding certain chemicals by buying mineral-based sunscreens. Is it hard to find at all?
No, not really. You find it most places.
There are safer products available now in more mainstream stores.
Nika Leiba with the Environmental Working Group also pays attention to what's in sunscreen. Her team evaluated more than 1,800 different products and found just 25% met the group's standards.
How effective they are at providing adequate broad spectrum protection. And then we look at the inactive ingredients to make sure that those also aren't linked to health harms.
The FDA is now researching sunscreen chemicals, and new rules are expected in the fall. But EWG is urging consumers to switch to mineral products now. Some sunscreens say on the front label that they're mineral-based, but every sunscreen lists its active ingredients on the back. EWG says look for zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, or both. The minerals reflect UV rays and are not absorbed by the skin. The group says avoid sunscreens with the chemical oxybenzone, which is easily absorbed and linked to health concerns.
We want to make sure that they cover it up.
Parents taking a proactive approach to sun protection and overall health. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
The Environmental Working Group also recommends avoiding sprays over aerosol concerns because it's hard to get a uniform coating. While grocery delivery had its moment amid the pandemic, 64% of Americans say they're still roaming the grocery store aisles. That's according to a recent Gallup poll of consumer habits. And from the checkout lane to check please, 74% of respondents said they dine out at least once a month. But that's down from 87% who said the same thing before the pandemic. Masks are back in demand. According to Adobe's digital economy tracker, mask sales shot up 51% in the last week of July from the prior week, and sales rose another 40% from August 4th through this week. Sales of face coverings had been in decline from May through late July until the CDC began encouraging people to mask up again amid rising cases. Final check of the forecast next. Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more on the potential impact of Missouri's new school voucher program on Joplin schools. Plus, a Southwest Missouri attorney talks about the legality of businesses mandating their employees get vaccinated, and the family of a man who died in the custody of Carthage police sues the department and the city. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Now, the first time in 20 years, an insect-eating plant has been identified on North America's Pacific coast. It's a carnivorous plant called Triantha occidentalis. The plant traps insects using the sticky hairs on its flowering stem. The plant is found in boggy but bright areas on the Pacific coast of North America, from California to Alaska. Now, carnivorous plants are usually found in nutrient-poor areas like bogs, and so the plants have to get their nutrition from living prey. Feed me Seymour, it says.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to watch that.
Yeah, guess so.
They have the Venus flytraps that they used to always sell at the backs of magazines. The weather, chances of rain ahead.
Yeah, some scattered showers and thunderstorms trying to work in for us late this evening into the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. These are going to be hit and miss, but pretty widespread, and then just kind of hit and miss storms tomorrow afternoon, really sticking around for the next several days. A little bit cooler, but still hot across the region.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.